Hello fellow humans, I forgot to record an intro for this, but it doesn't really matter. Anyways, the thing is that Father's Day is in exactly 2 weeks, and I have no idea what I'm going to make. But I've decided to make a sword. Now I don't know how this is going to work, but we're just going to try and make it work. First I picked out the wood that I wanted from just some of the spare woods in our backyard, and then I measured it to the length that I wanted, marked out the places, and then drew the general shape that I wanted to cut out, so the end of the sword and then a bit of the handle. And then I started sawing away, and this took me so long, and I probably should have worn a mask because I had an itchiness at the back of my throat from inhaling wood dust for so many days after this. Next step was filing down the sides to make it a little bit more even where I hadn't cut it properly or I had cut it a little bit wonky, and also so I could get those areas ready for sanding. I also filed down the whole top layer of wood because it was just very prickly and probably not something that I was going to be able to sand down to a nice consistency. It was at this point I got my first and surprisingly only splinter of this whole project. Then began the sanding. I honestly love sanding. I think it's quite therapeutic, and I also just love feeling the wood become smoother and smoother with every different grain change. I just love it. I also got a scrap piece of wood and filed and sanded that down too. Alright, so this is my setup for spray painting, and I am doing this outside, but I'm also doing it on an undercover area, and oops, I've already splattered my sword with some test spray paint. And the reason why I'm doing this undercover is because this is Melbourne, and while the sun may be peeking through the clouds now, it could rain in an hour, half an hour, or even 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna get to spray painting this sword blade in a silver color. Alright, one coat and an hour later, and this is actually looking pretty good, except for in the front there are just these like little lumps and bumps because of my very uneven spraying job. But the back is pretty good, even though from this angle it does look like there needs to be more paint here. But yeah, I'm just going to go over it again with some spray paint, and then we'll see if we need a third coat, which I'm hoping we don't. Alright, so this is the sword, 2 coats of silver spray paint later, and I reckon it looks amazing. There are like 2 holes, like one here and then one at the back, where I forgot to fill them in before painting it, but I think it looks fine anyways, and maybe I will go in and fill them later. I'll just have to see about that. Then I took that spare piece of wood from before and I cut it in half. Actually, I did this before I sanded and filed it down, but basically I took each piece and I hammered a nail into it mostly the whole way. So that way when I attached it against the sword, I could just bang it down. Then I traced out the design that I wanted on the hilt of the sword. Alright, while I wait for the glue gun to heat up, which is sitting on a binder right now, just so it doesn't burn the carpet, I have just set out this layout. I have my sword here and I'm just gonna go through and do some detailing on the... Is it called like the hilt of the sword? I'm not sure. So I have some extra glue sticks, I have a wax seal, which is the thing that you can see next to the pencil, which I'm just going to use to just stamp in some cool details. And then I have this jewel. It's actually an old earring, and I've just folded the back so that it can sit flat, and I'm just going to pop it in here somewhere. So this is the sword so far. Basically it's just like I've put like a little glob of glue out here on the ends just to, this is just to hold it together. And I'll be honest, this bit looks incredibly ugly, so I'm thinking if I want to change that, I'm just gonna have to shave down some of these sides here too. So I did end up changing it to this spiral pattern, and then I started to paint over all of it in black first, so I could go over it with gold paint later. I did quite a few coats of the gold paint to try and make it look quite metallic, but I think it really did work out great. Then I decided I also needed a case for this, so I quickly whipped up. When I say quickly, I mean this definitely did take me around an hour. I had to cut out all the cardboard pieces after measuring them with my sword, and then I had to glue them all together, and it was quite a nightmare. But eventually I ended up joining that together, and then I painted it red, and then I started doing some detailing with gold on top. Then I got to work filling in those holes with Agnew's water putty. So basically I just had to mix some of this powder with water, and then it turns into a putty filling thing that you can use to fill in holes in wood and stuff. And then to cover up the new putty that I had just put in, and also some of the imperfections in the painting at the top, I sprayed down some spray paint on some spare wood, and I just used this skewer to paint in wherever I wanted. And these are the final results. My ending statements are that it's by no means perfect, but I am pretty proud of what I have accomplished, and I also know what to do better for next time. And I definitely will be doing this again, I'm just not sure when as of yet. but I enjoyed the process in making this sword. I also think that my dad really liked it, although he could just be playing it up because I'm his daughter, but I would like to think that he thinks it's at least a little bit cool, and I'm proud of it regardless. I hope that you guys are having a good day. I hope that you continue to have a good day, and I will see you guys next time.